right.
All right. And so welcome back to the Community Game Plan. My name's Eric Holman.
I'm Jim Smartin.
I got it right this time.
You did. You know who you are. You know who I am.
So today on episode 16, this is actually crazy that we're getting up there. We're actually in the teens.
Yeah? That's all right.
That's minor.
We'll wait until we hit the hundreds.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a party.
Then we might have a party. Either way, on today's show, we had a really, really fun conversation with Dennis LaBlanc, Atlantic Canada manager with CannaConnect. We explored the powerful mission rooted in the support, healing, and the community. So CannaConnect is a organization that was dedicated to supporting veterans through education, access, and community connections. We dive into this critical work being done to provide veterans the resources that can improve quality of life, the real-life impacts this support is having on individuals and families across communities they serve. So it was really interesting, really, because it was like you said in the interview, like you never heard of CannaConnect before I brought it up.
Yeah.
I've been, as I mentioned, following this for a little while, and they are right here in our back door or backyard in Lower Sackville currently, but they are going to be offices moving to the Bedford area.
Yeah,
so it's pretty interesting.
I'm getting tired of all these emotional ones that like hit home.
I know,
they get deep, but they're like
yeah. Well, I mean, this one again, it's with our military backgrounds, having our fathers and grandfathers and all that in the military, and friends too.
Yeah,
like, both of us have good friends that we have gone through the military and now out. So it was great to learn more about this support that these veterans have, and as we learned, it's not just for the military veterans; it's also for RCMP and first responders like firefighters, police, ambulance, everything like that.
And families up.
And exactly all their families.
The fact that we're as base brats, like years later, still considered part of the family is insane.
That was awesome.
I honestly wasn't expecting that.
No, that was great. So yeah, we this next little bit here, we hope you enjoy. We sat down with Dennis and just learned a little bit more about CannaConnect and because there is some stigmas and some.
I think it's just a gap, like
some misunderstanding.
Yeah, misunderstandings. Of what it is.
CannaConnect was, because as you mentioned, they're not a dispensary; they're a community, and he also showed like they're a community within a larger community that is helping even larger communities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and filling the holes.
Exactly.
I think that's I think the one thing I think people will get out of it, especially if they're somebody coming up on their time or somebody who had to leave the military early and just have that gap, like this is exactly, or even if you know somebody who is in that situation, this is the episode for you.
It's not, they're CannaConnect, but that's just a small piece of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as we learned, like, from guitar lessons to, I was looking at their calendar that he mentioned today that in St. John they were doing a knitting learning session. It's everything.
Who's just their name?
Yeah,
like there's always something deeper than what your name is and what your initial we're realtors. I don't know if a community game plan is like really highlights that, but it's because that's what we are. It's not who we are. Exactly. CannaConnect is more than what it is, or than it says. So
up next, hope you enjoy our conversation with Dennis LaBlanc. Again, he Atlantic Canada manager for CannaConnect. Dennis is located in Fredericton and the Oromocto area, but as you mentioned, they have 16 offices across Canada. Mm-hmm. So we'll put that in our show notes as well, so you can reach out and find out your local CannaConnect. So hope you enjoy our little conversation here next, and we'll see you on the other side. Yeah. Exactly. Or just move to Nova Scotia and we'll help you get in touch with them. Yeah, because as we learned, the Maritime Way is very, very open-armed and open community. So, yeah. Yep. See you on the other side. See you on the other side. All right. So, welcome to the show, Dennis. First time on Community Game Plan, and this is going to be really interesting. So, Jim and I know we didn't really touch base, but Jim and I, our background is military brats. We do both of our fathers were military, so We know the lives of veterans, firsthand with our fathers and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dennis, you're with the Atlantic. You're the Atlantic Canada manager with CannaConnect. So, can you tell us a little bit about your role and how CannaConnect is going about helping the veterans in our communities?
So, CannaConnect has been around. We had our 10-year anniversary last year, since 2015. I actually got involved with it in 2018. I was medically released, and I had stopped in to look at my options for treatments. I had just come in off the street, walked into the Oromocto CannaConnect, and found, a little coffee shop, a bunch of veterans sitting around, all there just talking, and built a little community. So what I had initially came in is, a lot of people think it's about the cannabis, but what it is, it's community wellness is what CannaConnect brings to the table. So cannabis is kind of how it brings you in the door, but once you're in the community, it's much more than that. Meaning there's depending on where you're at, like in the Halifax area, we have our flagship, which is in Lower Sackville, currently going to be moved to Bedford within the next month, to a much larger location. But what you'll find there is every day we have coffee. It's a little joke. We say coffee's on from 10 to 2. So it's a coffee shop with community full of veterans. Myself, I did 20 years with the Royal Canadian Regiment. I was posted across Canada. My last posting was in Halifax. And, after I got out of the military, I was still looking for that sense of community and being. And that's something that, CannaConnect was providing. So I actually started just volunteering, serving coffee, helping veterans with their paperwork, and, sharing my experience with them as they're on their journey out. And then CannaConnect actually facilitates that. So in that, we've kind of evolved. So my volunteering so I got into the leadership of the CannaConnect, which then brought me into, okay, let's expand even further into the East Coast, which we didn't have a clinic in Halifax area, which I believe we brought in 2020, I believe it opened in Sackville. And this one is actually the largest clinic. We call it our flagship. It has the most veterans. You can go in there at any point in time between 10 and 2, and you'll find 20 to 30 veterans coagulating, having coffee, and they're in various groups there. Some of the things that we do are, in particular, is we have guitar lessons, jam sessions, and that's part of what the community is. And then we do a lot of we look where our veterans can, give back as well. So any organizations, it's usually a veteran organization where they're holding an event, like True Patriot Love, the walk they held in Halifax. We showcase that, and then we encourage our members, and we call them members. We're not really, we don't consider them clients or patients. We call them members of our community. And that's, that's kind of in a nutshell of what CannaConnect is and how I got involved.
That's amazing. I actually, it kind of hits home for me. I have a friend who used to be very social, used to be very involved with all of his military stuff while he was still in, and then to watch his mental health, I'd say deteriorate. Since then, because his social ability is gone from seeing the same people every day, being a part of
that community.
a very tight community. And he went to coffee with one or two of them a bit, and then it just fell apart, and he's kind of regressed into himself. And it's like, I always notice that military people hold on to their military friends, like that group, like they get together at parties. But once they're not working together, or their friends get posted while they've retired, they don't have that anymore. They don't have that group, and it's not great for the mental well-being, I find.
No, I can't imagine.
Go ahead. You're exactly right on that, and that is it's a decline once you release, or even you've released and you still serving. And one of the things like you did touch on is both of you, like with being, coming from a military family. This is one of the things that we found over the years is that we actually make it so it's community based. And when we say community, we mean the whole family. So we don't only just have events for veterans or there. We do it for the spouses also. We do paint nights, various things like that, spa days. And then we also have things for the children, because that's the one thing I found for even my kids, that they're grown now, going to university. But, as both of you could attest, like, it's a different environment when you're growing up in a military family unit.
Yeah, the base, the base was a whole family. That's one thing I found is when we lived on base, it was always a community. Somebody was always looking out for 5-6 kids at a time while another parent had to go to the store or whatever. And
but that's one thing the military has always gotten right is family is important.
Yeah.
And they've done so much for us, like you were saying, on bases. Like, living in Germany on Ramstein Air Base, like we were surrounded by a Canadian group, but we were also surrounded by the Americans and Brits and everything. But it was always family came first.
Yeah.
Which is huge. And I can see why CannaConnect has continued that with this program. And it is very much an important part of everything that you guys are doing to help the veterans, transition into this new life that they're going to be going into.
That's it. It is really a transition. Like I said, it's even as the kid seeing it when you move and all of a sudden your parents aren't in the military anymore. It's you don't have those friends. You don't have that guaranteed group of people to hang out with, and you have to. Well, as the kid, you have to evolve and change, and it's difficult. So as an adult, who is, you're less pliable. I find as an adult to change. So when it's something that big like retirement, it leaves you with a hole. It leaves you lost.
No, and it definitely does. And the one thing is if you're medically released, it can come to a shock. So you may know that you may not be well enough or fit enough like to continue on, but when that day comes, and I can speak from my personal experience, I was lost. I had my contract was signed for till 2033. And I had every intention of fulfilling that. It's just, medically I couldn't. Yeah. So that's the one thing that I struggled with is to find, I guess it's your sense of purpose, because you know who you are when you're in the military. Like I had a rank, I knew where I stood, I knew where I was amongst my peers. But then once you're out, you have to kind of come back and figure out like who you are. And like myself, I actually grew up in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. And I'm not that person who I was then. No. So I'm someone new, and like after all of what I've seen and I've accomplished over the years, you evolve into that. So then you're trying to start fresh and find out where you belong in the community. And the one thing that I can say is that CannaConnect has done for me has really drawn me into a sense of purpose where I can get up every day and like I know that I'm going to be able to help someone like at one point in time. And that is kind of the biggest thing is like every member of CannaConnect, whether you're an ambassador or just part of the member of the community, there's always something for the air. And it's the same way across the country. So we have 16. And everyone is quite similar. Like you can find it, whether you go to, Victoria, our lounge there, our newest one in Cloverdale, or you go to St. John's, Newfoundland, you're going to find that same thing, that sense of community, and that welcoming, their arms are wide open to accept you in there. And there's no judgment. And that's the one thing is like, there's no rank, there's no talk of politics. Like that's very important that we keep that standard within our lounges, to make sure that everybody feels inclusive. It's barrier free. It's the coffee, the drinks, all that. There's no cost to the veteran whatsoever. And that's the one thing that I take pride in. And as I've, moved along within this company, the owners have given me the ability to, make this into this excellent community. And I will say, like, Atlantic Canada by far is, I would say we do have the strongest. Plus, we're Maritimers, I guess we're a little extra friendly there also. So
it kind of goes with the Maritimes that way.
Yeah.
So can you speak a little, some of the programs like you mentioned, and I got in connection with you from a friend of mine, Trevor. I see him post all the time. Some of the programs that you guys are offering, the guitar lessons, the yoga, wellness. Can you talk a little bit about those programs and how those are affecting and helping?
Yeah, and definitely. One thing I would just like to give a shout out to Trevor for that. Yeah, he runs the CannaConnect in St. John. He's been incredible, and one of the things he's actually done is actually increased our game. So in Sackville itself, we have weekly music lessons, both beginner and advanced, which we hold in the clinic. We actually have I'm trying to get it right. He has a master's in music therapy. So he also brings that kind of therapeutic sense to it. Now that's specific to Sackville, Bedford area, but that's one of the things we offer there. One of the other things that I would like to share that they offer is we have what's called a Veterans Assistance Team. And what they do is they're all volunteers themselves, and they all help with the VAC paperwork. So it can be very cumbersome trying to fill out that all the forms and whatnot that you need to get your services. So that's something else that CannaConnect does provide. We also do a lot of golfing events. That's something that our membership says. So we hold 2 or 3 tournaments a year, and then we help promote other events throughout. So there's one. Maybe even you'd like to get them on your podcast. It's called Emeritus Golf. It's across the country. It's a veteran-based golf organization where they hold tournaments all summer. You can sign up for one to play, or you can sign up for a lifetime and play in this kind of golfing league where you get your stats, and it's all across Atlantic Canada. So that's one of the things that we help facilitate. We make sure that the people know where and how to access that. Some of the other things we've done we've tried it is the nature walks, various areas. We usually kick that up in the spring, summer. We do walks, Shubenacadie, things like that. Some other places we've done some foraging where we've hired someone who's very good at foraging in the forest, showing like what you can eat and can't eat. We did a few events like that.
Interesting.
We do photography classes, chili cook-offs, you name it, we've probably done it. We do paint nights, crafts. It's just, if someone comes in with an idea and, a plan to help, CannaConnect, provides the funding and the spaces to do this. The event that has really kicked off is Heroes Mending on the Fly. They come in every Friday for an advanced fly tying session. It started off with about 5 people. Now there's 25 people.
Oh, wow.
So it's like we're one part of this veteran community.
Yes.
And it's massive.
Yeah.
And it's because of, even guys like yourself with this podcast, like community based, like this helps. And with your backgrounds, showcasing this just will allow other veterans to see like there are options when you get out, and you don't have to stay in your basement. Like
that's right.
We have help.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like I said, I follow Trevor on Facebook, and just what he shares, I'm like, it just blows my mind. The support that our veterans are given, and I should mention, like, you're military, but this is also supports RCMP, from what I understood too, right?
Not even just RCMP. Like we do definitely support RCMP within the lounges and that with the medical cannabis, but we also make sure that all first responders feel welcome as well. So firefighters, ambulance, like we're not going to turn them away.
No.
The way we look at it is they're part of our community. They may not hold the title veteran, but they're definitely a first responder. And, I personally look at them the same as myself. Like you've served a higher purpose. Yeah. Well, you're part of this community.
Yeah, it takes a lot for somebody to run into a burning building. I know I've gone through a house fire myself. It's not fun, and
No.
I still have some issues with that. So I can imagine. Can you talk a little bit, like, so for Lower Sackville and moving to Bedford, what is like the local community? How have you been responded with coming into those areas with this center? Understanding like you're there to help.
Yeah, so one of the misconceptions that initially come across is you see the word like CannaConnect, and kind of see our logo, which you can see kind of on my shirt there. People think, oh, one, are you selling it? And that's the kind of the misconception. And two, is this just an area where people are going to be using their cannabis and kind of be mulling around, a lot of smoke? Well, once we get into the community, then they realize that that's not what we are at all. Right. We're a wellness lounge. Like, people can use their medicine as they see fit within their vehicles or outside, but within the lounges themselves, we have it very much. It's the way I look at it is, my grandmother should be able to come in there, the base commander, and a politician, and feel safe. And by following that, meaning that it's very clean, the language is clean, you're not using any of the product, there's like no smoking or anything like that within the lounges themselves. And then once the community realizes that, then they're like, oh, well, okay, this is good. And then they enjoy having that around. As far as the Halifax area, within the community itself, it's very accepting of veterans because it's a major part of that community. Yeah. So we haven't really had any kickback at all. Even like trying to like get a new building, landlords were very like, okay, yeah, we read through, we understand what you are. You're a wellness clinic, not a just a place where you hang out. Yeah. So that it makes it a lot easier once we explain it. But initially, when people look at it, they're like, oh, we're not sure what that is. But right. Thanks again for having us on in the podcast that let us explain, this is what we really are. Right. Is we're wellness.
Yeah.
And that was our hope, and that's
what it's for. Yeah,
exactly.
Is get the education out there, the information out there. I was just wondering, basically, you have a new person walk in. What do you usually see from the moment they walk in and like kind of come through the door, like kind of unsure of what they're doing, and to how they kind of open up once they get started?
Well, from like being in the lounge and like running it myself, what I've seen over the years, and it's still true, it's almost, you'll see the veteran walk in the door and then they're going to kind of look around. Obviously they're checking, and we call it 5s and 20s in the infantry. You're scanning 5 feet in front of you and then 20 feet. Yeah. And they'll do that, and they're going to look in the room and they'll look for someone familiar. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is that the minute that someone opens that door, someone behind the bar, which we have volunteers, and we call them ambassadors, they will greet you right away. So as soon as you come in, the whole hope for us is that we take that edge off. So we say hello, hey, would you like a cup of coffee? And then we'll have someone else. We have multiple people around us. Like, how can we help you? What are you looking for? Some come in and it takes 4 or 5 times before they'll even, say what they want. Right. But that's kind of the approach that we have. And usually, within the first or second visit, that veteran feels extremely comfortable, and may find a core group. What we have found, a lot of people will bring their friend in. So they'll come and they'll like, hey, have you checked this place out? And they're like, no. Well, then, hey, come with me, and then we'll go together. Usually they'll come to one of our major, like we hold a breakfast once a month, at every clinic almost. And it's the volunteers put it on, and it's just a great opportunity for more people to come out. Mm-hmm. So we'll have the regulars that come in for the coffee, some that come in, just drop in between appointments. And then we'll have like the major events, like a breakfast where we'll see, 60 to 100 people come through the doors in the morning. And then we hold barbecues and catering events like that, music nights. We've had comedians come in. So that once they know that kind of it kind of works for themselves.
Right.
As far as them getting a prescription, we bring them in. We have a designated veteran who, you know, just kind of handles all the paperwork and all the initial stuff, what they need, and then they'll see our clinic manager after that. And that's just kind of the cannabis side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then also we'll get them set up with, like, hey, what are you interested in? You know, do you golf? You know, fish? Is there something that we can help you with? And then we kind of try and show them what's available for them specifically. So everybody has different wants and needs, and then we try and find out, you know, if we have it in-house, or we can send them to the right spot to do what they actually want to do.
Yeah, I like that. That's it. It's not a dispensary. It's just like, yes,
No.
do we like figure all this out? Sure, but let's take this to the next level.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now that we've got your needs out of the way, that's like, let's go to your real needs.
Yeah.
Like, how can we actually help you?
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, the real need is community.
Yeah.
Like, that is
the support.
need.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's the support, not necessarily. You know, it is interesting, and you know, one thing like we haven't really touched on, and like you said, you're not a dispensary, and a lot of people, if they're just driving down the street and they see CannaConnect on the front of a building, that might be a first indication or first thought that they might have. So what should people know about the cannabis support initiatives that you guys do offer your members?
well, with cannabis, there's such a wide range of methods that you can actually intake your medicine. So the one thing that we do pride ourselves on is that we have, you know, the ambassadors and the managers and the people who are directly responsible in helping the veteran through their journey have some training or through personal experience on the methods of utilizing medical cannabis for whatever treatment you have. Like for myself, I use edibles and tinctures, oils, and gel caps. That's kind of mine. So for me, it looks like a regular pill for the day, but some others may have different needs. And then because it is a plant and there's such a wide variety of there, you have to kind of figure out what works best for you, much like any other medication, but we're there to support you through that whole journey. And that kind of, you know, separates us from some of the other companies. And if we don't know the answer, we'll find it. But because we have been around for so long, you know, we do have a lot of corporate knowledge on, you know, what works for certain injuries, for sleep, chronic pain, just the various things. And then as the medical cannabis now evolves with new strains and different things, we make sure we stay on top of that. So that's kind of the journey that a veteran would see if they became one of our members of the community.
So it's support and education.
I was just going to say a ton of education, which is huge.
100%. I just ran, well, I didn't actually facilitate it. I had a pop-up in Bridgewater on Friday where it was cannabis education. So we showcased, you know, what is kind of out there, the different methods, you know, how it works. And then what I do is one of my facilitators, he actually gets into the science of it, where it's just not cannabis. There's what's called terpenes that are a follow-on, which are in everything. Every plant known on the planet has a terpene, which is that smell, right? It's the smells that you find within plants. So those are other things that we will run also, to make sure that the veterans have everything they need to make educated, informal decision on their own treatment plan.
Great.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
As far as like the struggles, what are the biggest struggles with the veterans when they're walking in the door that you really kind of go out of your way to kind of, whether it's the disillusionment of like you said, them feeling like they have to be in the basement, or again, seeing the whole medical release a few times myself, they weren't ready for it. They were like yourself, ready to finish their time in. and were told essentially they couldn't. So from getting them through the door and dealing with those struggles, like what's the main thing that you guys try to do to help them get past it?
So we try and build trust right away. That's kind of the baseline that we need to do. We have to make sure that when they walk in there, that they feel safe. One is that's kind of their personal safety, and then two, that we build a relationship where they know that we're not there to put them down or turn them out, because a lot of it, and speaking in my own, when you're on your way out, you kind of feel betrayed by the institute that you've served for so long. So that's the biggest thing that I found that we have to do, is like establish that trust, establish that we are here with you, not we're not there for you, we're with you, is basically how
you're
we
all one and
things.
the same sort of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do have our managers, our civilians. Some actually are spouses of veterans themselves. But for the most part, like anyone who deals the front facing besides the clinic managers, we're veterans ourselves. So that's the one thing that CannaConnect does pride itself on, is, bringing in and then, having that I guess, cadre of trusted veterans to help.
Yeah, it is a military, as well as like you were saying, any of the service industries of the fire department and first responders, and trust is something that they all actually you have to have in those groups. That's something that's really pounded in, is you need to trust the man next to you, the woman behind you, like the person that, and again, coming into a different lifestyle where that isn't the 9-to-5 job. The 9-to-5 job is very you-centric. It's very do my thing and get out of here, where the one thing, again, just seeing growing up, was you supported the people around you. It was the only way to get through day to day with issues that most people might not even see.
No, and that's and then you add on the injured or the morality piece. You may have a moral injury from this, and then it takes away that that trust. And then I know for myself personally, I had a distrust for civilians. It's like, oh, do I trust them? Do I not trust them? And that's hard. And for me, I had to kind of leave the greater veteran community and see that there's other great organizations out there that will help. But I mean, that just takes time.
Yeah. And again, it's all a mentality thing. And when you have people who have been there having a cup of coffee and they've been there for years, talking with them will help the newer ones to kind of get the shared experiences and be like, look, I've been out for a while. This is what I've done. And you have somebody who you initially have more of a sense for trust that you can actually talk to, and it kind of opens you up to others, like trusting others or opening up or coming out of your shell, as it would be.
Yeah, and that's the model, and
I like it. It's gorgeous.
We and the challenge is to make sure that we still, for myself as the manager, is to make sure that yes, we need new patients coming in, but also that retention piece. So that's where myself, Trevor, and our other kind of lead ambassadors, where we get together and we kind of discuss these on a monthly basis to make sure that we have the tools to do our job, but also make sure that the veterans have what they need. So not only the new coming in, but are still our
the core that stays, like the
core value.
Yeah. Well, I think that comes with like you said, the hikes and the golf, and when people see it's a community. It's not just a place to come in and feel safe to find your footing. It's once you have that footing, somebody's coming in the door behind you. So to be able to be there gives you that, like you said, that sense of purpose to help somebody.
Yeah. And I will say, like, the Halifax area has so many great veteran groups that intertwine, and you'll see it. And I mean, you see it a lot at our CannaConnect, where there's like the UN NATO bikers group that they have breakfast every Saturday, but they're involved with that. And then we have the bigger events that us veterans we look forward to is like the Rolling Barrage that goes coast to coast. That's something that we're involved in. The big one for your area is the Highway of Hero rides. Where I've seen the momentum grow. But it's events like that we kind of rally around within our our CannaConnect community, right, and spread the word. So we're not only helping other organizations, but we're helping our internal members as well with that. So that's kind of how I do things, and our other veterans in the East Coast.
It seems very community for community to me. Like, that's what this sounds like, is you're helping people in a specific community, and then you're expanding to a broader community. Like, it's a lot. Like, again, first time I've heard about it, and I'm already like, I need a couple of my veteran friends to go and have a coffee. Like, I need them to go there, because I, being a brat, was never beyond that.
Right.
So,
well, and
I just find it's like the trust that you talk about.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
you're actually welcome to come. Well. There's no reason you're not. Like I said, the way we view it is like your family has served. So, but by all means, drop by. And you guys are going to get an official invitation to our new kind of grand opening. But by all means, drop in. Yeah. And one of the things also we try and do is be responsible within that. And you'll see when you do come in that, we have kind of a counter, like, information area. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we take, kind of the best practices, or, trusted people that we've used, from realtors to financial advisors. And we kind of keep a little area where, every local area will have that, where, these are people that someone in the community has used and has established trust. So that's, another added benefit that we add on within each local community. So it's not, hey, I need a carpenter to do something, hey, do you guys have a realtor? That this is how we've evolved over the last few years.
Yeah. So what are, Jim mentioned here just a second ago, like, other than me talking about this, getting it ready for this podcast, he's never heard of CannaConnect. What is a struggle? How are you getting these new members? I know, like, retention, I think, would be pretty easy based on what you're offering and the community support and everything else. Mm-hmm. But how are the new members? Is that a challenge, getting the new members?
It varies, I guess, in location where you're at. Halifax, we do not seem to have an issue.
Such a large community here. Yeah.
There's so many veterans, and I think, like, the official is saying there's like 26,000 veterans in the HRM, which that's not even an accurate number. It's probably actually a lot larger than that. That's only the ones that actually did the surveys. Yeah. So that's not really an issue. And to be honest, on the East Coast, we do very well. Like, we don't, we've established that. We're very aware of our brand, and we try and protect that, and we try and keep it, like, as clean as possible. Mm-hmm. We're not there to push anything on anything. Like, we have cannabis, like, that could be the gateway, but maybe that's not what you need. Yeah. But we're not going to turn you away.
We also have coffee and other veterans who are willing to talk,
and probably guitars and paint and everything.
Well, there's something for everyone, and to be honest, I picked up a paintbrush. I did a paint lesson, which I would have never did in a million years. Right. And I'm like, you know what? This is kind of different and unique. Yeah. So it's new opportunities for I guess I'll call myself an old war dog.
Hey, you could become the next Picasso now.
I joke that, but.
He's like, no, I wasn't painting a canvas. I was painting my little minis for my board games tomorrow night. See, Colin knows.
Okay, so what are ways that people can get involved, whether it's volunteering or company wise, to support the mission, and where can we? I mean, we'll eventually throw out the CannaConnect.ca. I believe it was .ca. We'll get all your notes in here. But yeah, how can people get involved if they do want to help out?
Well, the first thing is to drop by the location, have a cup of coffee, talk to the lead ambassador. Like there's various levels of volunteering that we do. Like I said, we also are tied into the greater veteran network. So maybe it's not necessarily volunteering with CannaConnect, but we'll put you in touch with, something that is in your line. So that it's just come through the door wherever there's a
so open door policy.
It is 100%. And like I said, 10 to 2 in the Atlantic Canada is our standard coffee hour. Like every CannaConnect in Atlantic Canada, every day of the week, Monday to Friday, 10 to 2, you can come in, grab a cup of coffee. There's going to be someone there welcoming you. Halifax, the one right now, it's on Sackville Drive, but it's moving to Dartmouth Drive in Bedford. Okay. But we also have another location in New Minas for anyone in the valley. Similar. They're all kind of similar. They may have one or two unique things that they do specific to that area, but you will find that, like I said, you could walk into a clinic in Victoria and then walk into the Sackville clinic, and you'll see very much the same thing. Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I like the fact that it's going to be just there at Dartmouth Road. Like,
yeah.
Like
Jim
that.
lives in Bedford.
I live right there.
Yeah, so it's actually the old Intac Insurance Building, where the Bedford Library is.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We're
I know that location.
We've
it's perfect.
tripled the space.
Yeah, it's a perfect space for it. It's got good traffic, good parking, good location, by bus routes, by everything you could need.
Yeah. No, when we open up, definitely you guys are going to get an invite to the grand opening, but just drop in for a coffee.
Oh, we'll be there,
definitely,
100%.
Definitely, yeah. So, anything else that you should like our viewers and our listeners should really know, like the about CannaConnect, or helping our veterans, because like you said, our background's military. We've had friends, like I said, Trevor. I've seen and heard some of his stories. What is the an important message that our viewers and listeners can leave today with?
So with that, if you're handy to a clinic, it's barrier free. So whether you have mobility issues, or you actually need someone to take you in, all the lounges are ready for that. Staying connected and getting involved, the biggest thing I would say is check the events calendar. Yeah. So like we use a lot of Facebook and Instagram. And the one thing that you'll find is, and on our website as well. So we have a national calendar that kind of breaks down every area. And then I would say to the local users, go on the local Facebook page. So the Sackville CannaConnect page for the Halifax area, and you'll see all the events that we hold. So we post it at the beginning of the month, and then we update it as needed throughout. And then just if you're not in a lounge itself, we do have programs that we run from time to time where we'll do, like I said, walking programs, where we'll use the Strava app, and we'll, across the country, 10 o'clock on Fridays, everybody goes for a walk. So whether that would be, that's how some of our patients connect that aren't near a physical clinic. But really just check our events calendar on our website, and connect in with the local Facebook page, and you'll see exactly what's happening.
Right. We'll make sure we put all that in our show notes as well. We'll put the website and some of the socials up as well. That was amazing. That was so interesting.
Yeah.
I knew there was a lot. I knew there was a lot to you guys. I just didn't
know how
much.
I
dove into it. Like I said, I've been following Trevor. I've known him. He and I used to sell real estate in Fredericton together back in the day, and I just been following him from a distance. But like I said, it's blown my mind what he's doing and what he's showcasing from CannaConnect, that they're offering all the veterans in the community. It's just amazing. Blows my mind.
Well, if you guys give me your address, I'm going to make sure you guys get some swag.
Oh, excellent.
100%.
Yeah,
That's
the
coming.
big thing. We're always big on swag. So
I like swag.
I'm
I'm a big swag fan. I like
definitely
swag bags.
We'll support that for sure and throw that around. So again, thank you very much, Dennis. This was another eye-opening conversation.
Yeah.
This is when we started this a year, a little over. Well, we're in our second year of podcasting. We didn't really understand how deep of conversations we were going to get into at times. But this is another very impactful conversation I think we just had, and I want to thank you very, very much for having coming on our show, but everything you're doing for your community.
Thanks for all of it,
and past and present and future.
Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to meeting you guys in person.
Yes, definitely, and we'll definitely keep in touch. So again, thank you from us, and we're going to finish this up for today, but you hold on tight, and we'll be right back.
Hey, how you guys doing? See this beautiful studio, this beautiful setup, this beautiful equipment? That's not us. That is Capture It Photography. Jay Fisher, he also did our headshots and all of that. So if you think we look good now, you should see us in person. Basically, Jay does magic. I really like Capture It Photography. I am thankful for everything that they have done for us and making us look better, seem better, so we can put out all of our information and our fun shenanigans out to you. So, if you are somebody looking for headshots, get a little studio time, whatever it is, Capture It Photography, Jay Fisher, give him a shout.
Hot take time. So I have a hot take for you. And it's always your favorite because this is value versus worth. So the hot take question before you get going. In real estate, value is just a number, but worth is what actually gets the deal done. Are agents hiding behind comps instead of understanding what a home is truly worth to a buyer?
Yeah. All right. So value and worth. Good thing we have a seminar actually coming up about the value. Hiding behind, I'm going to say we don't have enough people who understand the difference of value and worth to hide behind it.
Right.
It's still constantly seen like, let me forget a CMA, like, let me tell you what your house is worth. Well, you can't. The only person who knows what the house is worth in a sale of a house is that final number that sells it. Like, everybody has their worth for what a home is. Like, your buyer, your seller, they have two different numbers.
Oh, yes.
And to them, they think value and worth is the same thing. Like, I put this much into it, I should have got this much out of it. It's not how it works. Like,
No.
You've got your value, you've got your worth, you've got like the value of what the bank thinks the value is. You have the market value, which is determined by the market, the buyer, essentially, where the buyer and seller come, and like the only value we care about as agents is that final number, and that's what CMAs are done on.
Right.
But that takes out your client completely. Like, just because the value was there for someone else doesn't mean it's there for your person. And I think, like I said, I just think too many people don't understand the difference. That to them, they're synonymous.
Right. Well,
And
that's the thing. Yeah, you add sentimental value, doesn't add worth to your house.
no. And what you think your house is worth, well, maybe it was your forever home. Maybe your client put all of their money, everything, and then somebody comes in and like, well, I actually don't like the painting. I don't like the cupboards. I don't like the floor layout. Well, guess what that is? That makes it worth less to them. Somebody has a pool. I don't want a pool. I want a hot tub. I'm not paying that. I got to pay to get a pool removed. Like, yeah, I wish it was. I really wish they were kind of like hiding behind the comps. I do. I just don't think enough people understand the difference to hide behind it. And it's a flaw, it's a mistake, it's not pushed hard enough, and the fact that this is what this home is worth. Let me tell you what your home is worth. I don't friggin' know what your home is worth. I don't know what it's worth to you. I'm going to insult you probably and come in and tell you what I think the market will do. But that's what I tell people. I don't care about its worth. I care about its value when I have the listing. I sit there and I tell the people, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going to hurt your feelings. Like, the market does not agree with what you think your home is worth. Or, hey, guess what? The market thinks better, but that's not usually the thing. But anyway, yeah, I hate those words. I hate them so much. I hate them not explained. I hate the fact that people don't pay attention. When both of those words come up, I just cringe. Like,
Yes.
and it's I think it's Linda's fault.
Let's blame Linda. We need Linda on here for a hot take.
Oh yeah, I think we do. And that's my take on it. I honestly think people don't know enough to be hiding behind something. I don't think people know the difference. The fact they think it's synonymous is just, it breaks my brain.
Nope, that's great. I agree. And when I need to get you riled up, I'll just mention value and worth from now on.
I knew that. What's the value? I don't know. What do you want to pay for it?
All right, so that's another hot take from us, and make sure you continue to watch as we venture into some more hot takes down the road.
Yeah,
and back to the show.
I don't care. Come at
and now back to the show.
Okay, and welcome back. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with Dennis and learned a little bit more about CannaConnect, just as we did.
Swag,
yeah. I'm looking more forward to the opening.
Oh my God!
I so want to go.
I am there. As soon as he gives the date, that is taking my calendar, and I will be taking a video because I plan on having that as like little clip of a little follow up of that. That is amazing.
So we hope you enjoyed that. It was very insightful and important conversation that highlights the power of community-driven solutions and the importance of supporting those that have served us. I mean, that's the big thing. You know, with us being, we've mentioned it many of times, we are military brats. We have friends, we have family that have all been part of the military, and we've seen what happens, the effects of life after military. After
military, yeah. And I think that's it's a big thing that's missed, and even by, like, again, base breath, we haven't been through it ourselves individually, like we've seen it, but leaving the service it's a different world, and I'm glad that there's not just here, but there are those communities that are for people who are leaving it, whether it be medical or whatnot, and to hear that this one organization like CannaConnect takes everything to the next level. Like, it takes like, let's help you with your treatment, but at like medical treatment, but at the same time, let's integrate you. Let's make you feel like you're still part of that community. Like, let's give you back something that you feel you lost.
Well, that's one thing we've seen as military families, but he mentioned as well, is the military is a community in its own.
Yep.
And now, these men and women that have now either been medically released or voluntarily released or any other reason, now they're out on their own in civilian life. Like, he made the comment once about not being able to
trust the civilians.
Yeah, trust the civilian. I mean, he's been surrounded by military, his brother and sister, forever, and like, they're trained. Like, he mentioned the 520. Scan the room, 5 feet, 20 feet. Yeah. Like, that's
still in the
mindset.
Into their heads.
Yeah. That's never gonna leave them.
No.
So it was pretty interesting, and I love that the fact, like, their local communities have embraced them. They know they're not just dispensary. They're there for wellness. And looking online on their website, they're very welcoming centers for sure, and you can tell that they're meant for getting well. And the wellness center is a huge word for that, and I definitely believe it.
Yeah, the wellness and trust. Those were words he brought up a lot. Like, to have a counter, it just shows like how much that means, and if he's seeing it, that must mean that that's exactly what's important and needed.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why is it?
Should you be on mic for this? Oh.
He is.
Why is it that ex-military, ex-service people, do you think, have such a tough transition in trusting civilians, in reintegrating with civilian life? What drives that?
It's a good question. We should ask Dennis that.
Well, I'd say it's a two-parter.
Yeah, I for me, I mean, just my mindset on it is, in the military, you're surrounded by your brother and sister that are trained the exact same way as you, right? In the sense that, as he mentioned, the 520. You walk into a room, you scan 5 feet, you scan 20 feet. Well, your brother or your sister and behind you is doing the exact same thing, watching your back. So now you're out in the general public. You don't know what these people are doing. You don't understand their mindset. Your mindset is very different, and you've been up in the military is very strict too.
It's structured.
Structure.
Yeah.
The way things do. It's not a 9 to 5. They know they have to be on. For my dad, it was ship. He had to be on a ship by certain day or a certain time. When he was out at sea, sometimes it was 6 months, sometimes it was 9 months. Their routine on a ship for 9 months is totally different than when he comes home.
Plus, you're also looking at, you're surrounded by rank. So you have a pecking order. You have that group that is below you, and you have those people that are senior to you.
Yeah.
And it's very clear from walking down the street. If your superior officer walks past you when you're in your duds, they're in their duds, and they go by, they're getting saluted, they're getting recognized. And that's just it. There's this whole mentality of respect the rank, not the person.
Right. You could absolutely despise the person, but because their rank's higher than you, you have to still respect them.
Right. Yeah, and so again, and it's the only way it functions, because when the crap hits the fan, you have this order, the order, how it plays out, how it should play out, and the person next to you, behind you, in front of you also knows that order. We're way more random. Our goals are a lot more free outside of the military, and I think that's one thing I always see with my friends who stayed in is their goals. They like family, career. That's they want to take trips, stuff like that. That's all there, but that's where the goals are. Where what I want today, I can go and get it. Where tomorrow might want something different, and I can go and get it. And so I have this full liberty to do whatever I want at any time to serve my best interest, not the interest of everyone around me. Because if I break that, in the military kind of lifestyle, if I feel like if I break that, in watching my friends, if they stand out and they cause an issue and they challenge the rank, well, that can be bad for the entire thing. Where if here I just burn a bridge, burning a bridge doesn't affect my life, doesn't affect my career, doesn't affect somebody else's life.
Right.
Exactly. And if I was to go, say, me and Eric just go, okay, we're going to go to somewhere where we need to be able to trust that we have each other's back. And we're both just regular dudes. And Eric's like, I'm going for a coffee. And I'm like, I'm in here getting beat up by this guy at a bar. Yeah. Where's Eric gone? You have an entire group of people on a mission, right? It's
pour my one hand coffee in
the other. They're trained for worst case scenario, right? And they're trained for being away.
And it's it's a community, but it's also their family, right? They have their families, but when, like I said, my dad was on ship for 6 months, 8, 9 months at a time. That's his family. Yeah. He got to call us every once in a while, but the other thing too was, I remember, especially when I was really young, Dad would go away for 3, 4, 6 months at a time, come back. He felt uncomfortable. We felt uncomfortable. He didn't want to disturb our structure that we had in place at home. His mom, my dad, or my sister and I, we had our routines. We had everything we used to do. And now Dad's gone away for 6 months, and all of a sudden he shows back up.
The reintegration of family. So if you think that's hard, think of it back into communities where they're not even your family.
Exactly.
That's insightful.
It is.
And again, we're only doing it as the brats. this is definitely like that question. It might even be a complete different answer for somebody who is service. Like,
but I've had
former
this
service.
conversation with others too, and like, you know, how I felt when my dad was away for so long, and then he come back in, and like, you're a stranger to me right now. I've had conversations with other military.
You're excited
brats
your dad's home, but you don't know him.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's a really interesting point. My family's on military, right? Civilian. My grandfather is ex-service, me. And my great-grandfather was infantry in Italy. And so there is some of that mentality, I think, that's been kind of passed down. But my family is civilian. Dad was lawyer. Operated his own practice. There would be weeks at a time where he was a roommate.
Yeah.
Right?
He was so focused on work. Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so, and I'm not chastising him for this.
No.
He gave us a great life.
Yeah.
You know, there were times where, you know, Dad and I would be sitting and catching up, and he'd be like, "What have you been up to?"
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea what you're involved
Right.
in. No idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Any of the accolades or awards you've won or anything like that. Catch me up.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine somebody coming home from 9 months at sea or coming from a tour of duty and being really cautious around their own family.
Yeah.
It's very strange. It takes a special person, I think, to career service.
Yep. Very.
Well, I don't even think they know, even if they grew up in it, I don't think they either remember or they think they'll like all be different.
Yeah.
I don't think they're expecting it either. So I think that's the big thing, is it's on both sides.
I joke, I laugh about my father. He's, you know, my grandfather, he was in the war. My father's comes from a very large family, but there was like the kids pre-war, then there was, you know, the gap, and then there's the post-war kids. Well, he's part of the post-war kids. He's youngest, but he grew up in the middle of Saskatchewan. 18 years old, went into the Navy. Yeah.
Completely land.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always laugh about that. I was like, you're surrounded by
Saskatchewan, known for Air Force. How did you end up on a ship?
Thanks, boys. No, I appreciate that. That's good conversation.
Cool. So, I guess we can just clean it up.
We can clean it up.
All right. So make sure you keep an eye on us. We really enjoyed that conversation, and we hope we have more of those.
Thank you, Colin. That was a good.
Thank you, Colin, for that. You know, a little in-depth look of our brains as well. So
well, again, is what from our perspective.
Exactly, and that's the thing. We can only speak on our perspective and our feelings, and like I said, you know, that conversation there, like, it brings up some memories of myself and having my father away for so long, and then even seeing him transition from retirement or into retirement. You know, it's been interesting. But so again, thank you from myself, Eric Holman.
I'm Jim Smartin.
And this is the Community Game Plan. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to us. We're on YouTube and all major podcasting services platforms. And make sure to follow us on socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. That's about all Jim does, but I'm also on Blue Sky. I use a little bit of that. Just search Eric Holman or Jim Smartin or the real estate team, and you will find us.
You will find us. We will be there.
Thanks again. So don't forget to like, follow, share the podcast, help continue to bring meaningful messages and community stories to light.
And if you know anybody or you yourself would like to be on the show, please reach out.
Thanks again, and see you on the next one.
Bye. We love you.